The red light above the bed blinked every few seconds, and the moment I unplugged it, someone outside the bedroom door tried the handle. My girlfriend Emily and I booked the Airbnb for a weekend getaway. It was a small cabin tucked deep in the woods outside the city. The listing had great reviews and photos of the surrounding forest. It looked like the perfect quiet place to unplug. At least that's what we thought. The drive there was already a little unsettling. The GPS took us down narrower roads until we were on a single dirt path surrounded by trees. It was early October, so the sun was already dropping behind the tree line by the time we arrived. The cabin looked normal enough. No neighbors, no other houses, just silence. We used the keypad on the front door to get inside. The place smelled like pine cleaner and old wood. Everything seemed clean. Emily loved it immediately. "This is perfect," she said. I felt a little uneasy right away. Something about the place felt watched, but I chalked it up to being in the middle of nowhere. We spent the evening making dinner and watching a movie. Around midnight, we headed into the bedroom. The room was simple. Just a queen bed, 2 nightstands, and a smoke detector mounted directly above the bed. I didn't think anything of it at the time. The first strange thing happened around 1:30 a.m. I woke up for no real reason. The room was dark, except for a faint moonlight. That's when I noticed it. A tiny red light blinking above us. It was steady. Every 3 seconds. Blink. Pause. Blink. I nudged Emily. "Hey!" "Do smoke detectors usually blink like that?" She groggily looked up. "Yeah, I think so, but I couldn't stop staring at it. The angle felt wrong. It was tilted slightly toward the bed instead of straight down. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. As the light hit it, the blinking stopped. That alone made my stomach tighten. I climbed onto the mattress to get a closer look, and that's when I saw it. Inside the small vent holes, a tiny glass lens. My chest went cold. "Emily," I whispered, "that's not a smoke detector." She stared up, her face going pale. I twisted the device off the ceiling. A thin wire connected it, but it came loose. Whoever owned the place had been recording the bed. Emily grabbed her phone. "We need to call Airbnb," she said. But before she could dial, I pulled the plug from the wire. And that's when we heard it. A soft sound from the other side of the bedroom door. Click. The handle moved slightly. The handle moved again, slowly turning. Someone was testing it. Emily's breathing got shallow beside me. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. Another slow turn of the handle. Then a soft push against the door. Whoever was out there clearly expected it to open. My heart started hammering, because there was only one entrance to the cabin, and we hadn't heard anyone arrive. The handle rattled again, then stopped. I moved quietly toward the door and pressed my eye against the wood. No people. Another sound came from the hallway, a slow footstep, then another. Whoever it was still inside the cabin. We turned off the bedroom light and waited. Minutes passed. The cabin felt completely still, then a floorboard creaked again. The handle turned slowly a third time, this time harder. The door shook. Then we heard a low voice right on the other side. "Why did you unplug it?" The voice was almost calm. I was watching that. I quietly dialed 911. Footsteps slowly walked toward the living room, then the front door creaked open and shut. The police arrived 40 minutes later. They searched the cabin and the woods. No one was found. But they discovered something else. Hidden in the living room bookshelf, there was a small monitor connected to the camera we'd unplugged, still powered on. The footage showed someone had been watching us the entire night, from inside the cabin, even while we were asleep. Hours before we woke up, the footage showed the bedroom door slowly opening, and someone stepping quietly inside. The scratching in the walls started a few minutes after midnight. At first I thought it was just mice, until I found the sleeping bag in the crawl space. I booked the Airbnb for a quick solo trip. I'd taken a few days off work and wanted somewhere quiet to finish a project. The listing showed a small guest house, basically a studio cabin with a bathroom, a kitchenette, and a bed. The host said it was private and peaceful. The place was about 30 minutes outside town in a wooded area. Not completely isolated, but far enough that you couldn't see other houses. When I arrived around 7 p.m., everything seemed normal. The host had left the key in a lockbox. I never actually met them. Inside, the cabin looked exactly like the photos. I unpacked, ordered some takeout, and spent the evening working on my laptop. Around midnight, I shut everything down and got ready for bed. The first noise happened about 20 minutes later, a faint scratching sound. At first, I barely noticed it. The place was surrounded by trees, so I assumed it was something outside brushing against the siding. Then it came again. Scratch, scratch, scratch. I sat up. It sounded closer this time, like something moving between the walls. Great, I muttered. Mice. That was the only logical explanation. Older cabins get rodents sometimes. I figured it wasn't a big deal, but the scratching didn't stop. Around 1 a.m. it started moving, first behind the bed, then above the bathroom, then somewhere near the closet. Whatever it was, it sounded bigger than a mouse, more like something dragging against the drywall. Scratch, drag, scratch. The sound made my skin crawl. The next morning I woke up around 8. Sunlight filled the cabin, and everything felt normal. I figured it had to be a raccoon. I messaged the host. They replied, "Old building, sometimes animals get into the walls. Maintenance will check it next week." When I came back that evening, the cabin felt different. Not in a dramatic way. Just off. The air inside felt stale. Around 11 p.m. I climbed into bed, and right on schedule. The scratching started, except this time it was louder, much louder. Scratch. The sound came from the closet, not the wall. Inside the closet. My stomach tightened. "Hello?" I called out. Silence. Then, I got out of bed slowly and walked toward it. The scratching sound came again, but now I could pinpoint it. The floor. I knelt down and moved the towels aside. That's when I saw it. A small square hatch in the floor, painted to blend in. I lifted the hatch slowly. Below it was a dark crawl space. I turned on my phone flashlight, dirt, pipes, and then a sleeping bag, empty food wrappers, a plastic water bottle, and a phone charger plugged into a power strip that ran through a hole in the floor. I reached down and touched the charger. It was still warm, meaning someone had used it recently, very recently. That's when I heard it. Right behind me, a floorboard creaked. I turned slowly. The bedroom was empty, but the scratching started again, directly below me. Scratch, scratch, slow, deliberate, like fingernails dragging across wood. I slammed the hatch shut. The scratching turned into banging. The thump. The hatch rattled violently. Something underneath was trying to push it open. I grabbed my keys, my phone, and ran straight out the front door. I didn't stop until I was in my car. When officers arrived and searched the crawl space, they found everything, but no person. And the crawl space didn't connect to anywhere else. But before they closed it, one of the officers pointed something out, scratched into the wood beneath the hatch. The same message, "I live here." The tablet in the living room lit up at 2:11 a.m. It said motion detected in hallway. The problem was, I was the only person in the Airbnb. I booked the place for a quick overnight stop during a long drive across the state. It was one of those last-minute reservations. The listing showed a modern townhouse in a quiet suburban neighborhood. Nothing fancy, but clean, affordable, and with good reviews. The host had sent instructions through the app keypad code for the front door, Wi-Fi password, and a note saying the house had a small security system. "Just ignore the tablet in the living room," the message said. "It monitors outdoor cameras and hallway motion." At the time, that didn't seem strange. Plenty of Airbnbs have cameras now. I arrived around 10 p.m. The neighborhood was dead quiet. Streetlights, identical houses, not a single person outside. Inside, the place looked exactly like the photos. Minimal furniture, white walls, hardwood floors, one bedroom upstairs, living room downstairs, and on the coffee table, a tablet docked into a charging stand. Its screen showed 4 small camera feeds: front door, backyard, garage, and the upstairs hallway. I noticed it but didn't really pay attention. I was exhausted. I locked the front door, double-checked the windows, and went upstairs to the bedroom. The house had that empty echo you hear in unfamiliar places. Every step sounded louder than normal. But eventually, I got used to it. By midnight, I was asleep. I don't know what woke me. Maybe the faint glow of light, maybe a noise. But when I opened my eyes, the bedroom was still dark. For a moment, I just lay there listening. The house was silent. Then I saw the light. A soft blue glow coming from under the bedroom door. That's when I remembered the tablet downstairs. Something had turned the screen on. My phone buzzed on the nightstand, a notification. Motion detected. Hallway camera. Timestamp. 2:11 a.m. My stomach tightened. That didn't make sense. There shouldn't have been motion upstairs. I grabbed my phone and slowly opened the door. The hallway outside the bedroom was empty. The staircase led down into darkness, except for that faint blue glow from the tablet. I walked down the steps slowly. Each one creaked under my weight. When I reached the living room, the tablet screen was fully lit. A red notification box blinked on the display. Hallway motion recorded. Curiosity got the better of me. I tapped the notification. The screen switched to the camera playback. Black and white footage filled the screen. It showed the upstairs hallway. The exact hallway I had just looked at. For a few seconds, nothing happened, just an empty hallway. Then movement appeared. At the far end of the hall, near the bathroom. Someone stepped into view. My entire body went cold. It was a person, tall, wearing dark clothes, walking slowly toward the bedroom door. My bedroom door. I stared at the screen, barely breathing. The footage was time-stamped 2:11 a.m., meaning it had just happened. The figure moved quietly down the hallway, head slightly tilted down, walking like they knew exactly where they were going. Then they stopped right in front of the bedroom door. My bedroom door. The camera didn't show their face clearly, just the top of their head. They stood there for several seconds, not moving, just standing, watching the door. Then, slowly, the person reached out toward the doorknob. The video ended. I felt like all the air had been sucked out of the room, because when I had opened the door earlier, the hallway had been empty. I rewound the footage and watched it again. Same thing. The figure walked to the door, reached toward the handle, then the clip ended. I checked the timestamp again. 2:11 a.m. The current time on the tablet said 2:14 a.m. 3 minutes later. Someone had been standing outside my bedroom door 3 minutes ago. I slowly looked up toward the staircase. The upstairs hallway was dark, completely silent. My heart started racing. Maybe the person had left. Maybe they had come in through the front door somehow. I checked it. Still locked. Deadbolt engaged. Every window downstairs was closed too. The house was sealed, which meant one thing. Whoever had been in that hallway was still inside. I grabbed the tablet and opened the live camera feed. The hallway camera flickered on. The screen showed the empty hallway again. I exhaled slowly. Maybe the system had glitched. Maybe it had recorded something from earlier. Then the camera view shifted slightly, like someone had bumped it. And at the very bottom corner of the screen, a shoe stepped into view, right outside the bedroom door. The same dark clothing, the same figure, standing perfectly still, watching the camera, watching me watch them. Then the screen went black. The tablet powered off. I heard something upstairs. A slow creak. A single footstep directly above the living room. I grabbed my keys and ran out the front door. I didn't stop until I was inside my car down the street. The police checked the house later that night. They didn't find anyone. No signs of forced entry. No hidden rooms. Nothing. But the strangest part came when they reviewed the security system logs. The hallway camera had only recorded one motion event that night, at 2:11 a.m., and according to the footage they recovered, the person standing in the hallway wasn't outside my bedroom. They were standing at the top of the stairs, looking directly down toward the living room, toward where the tablet was, toward where I would eventually come down to watch it, waiting.